The distress signal space was quiet. A small cargo ship moved slowly near the edge of the Velan Nebula. Inside, Captain Ray Carter leaned back in his chair, sipping cold coffee. He was a human pilot, carrying mining equipment from one colony to another. Nothing exciting ever happened on these routes. His ship's AI, named Ella, broke the silence. "Captain," she said, "unusual transmission detected. Source unknown." Ray sat up. "Play it." The speaker crackled. Static filled the room. Then a broken voice came through. "Children. Trapped. Explosion. Help." Then silence. Ray stared at the console. "Was that real?" "Confirmed," Ella replied. "Distress signal located within Sector 7X near the nebula. Heavily unstable zone. Entry not recommended." Ray knew that area. Storms, radiation, and gravity spikes made it dangerous. No ships were supposed to fly there. But the voice, it didn't sound like a fake message. "Are there any ships nearby responding?" Ray asked. "Negative," Ella said. "No response traffic. We are the only vessel within range." Ray looked at the blackness outside. He could just report it and move on. That's what most pilots would do, but his heart told him something else. "Set course for Sector 7X, he said. "Warning. Potential threat to ship safety," Ella reminded him. "I know," he replied. "We're going anyway." The ship turned, engines humming louder. As they entered the nebula, the view outside changed. Thick clouds of purple and red gas surrounded them. Bolts of energy flashed in the distance. The ship shook lightly. "Holding stable," Ella reported. "Approaching signal source. In 2 minutes." Then they saw it. A giant alien ship floated ahead, half destroyed. Parts of it burned slowly in space. Other parts were already frozen, covered in frost. Debris surrounded the wreck. It looked like something terrible had happened just moments. "Hio ship identified, Valerie-class medical cruiser," Ella said. "Alien origin. Not listed in any active fleet. Condition, critical." Ray moved closer. "Scan for life." The screen blinked. "One life pod detected," Ella said. "Section 4B. Signs of movement. Energy readings are weak. Possible survivors. 6. Heat signatures small, likely children." Ray's heart sank. Alien children. Still alive. Trapped inside a ship that could blow any second. "Can we dock?" he asked. "Manual docking only. Auto systems cannot lock due to ship rotation and damage." Ray took the controls. "I'll do it myself." He flew the cargo ship slowly toward the alien vessel. Metal groaned as he attached the airlock manually. Once the seal was in place, he put on his pressure suit and grabbed a med kit. "I'm going in, Ella," he said. "Keep engines warm." "Understood, Captain. Good luck." The airlock hissed open, and Ray stepped into darkness. Inside the alien ship, smoke hung in the air. Lights flickered. Broken panels sparked on the walls. It smelled like burning plastic and something worse, something dying. His suit's light cut through the gloom as he moved carefully. Every step echoed in the quiet halls. "Navigation offline," Ella said in his ear. "Proceed forward. Chamber 4B." Is 30 meters ahead. Ray passed bodies floating in the air, alien crew members with strange skin and wide eyes. He didn't stop. He couldn't. Finally, he found the door to Chamber 4B. It was half open. Sparks flew from the edges. Inside, a clear cryo chamber stood in the center of the room. 6 small alien children lay inside, sleeping or unconscious. Their skin was pale, glowing faintly in the low light. A small A voice spoke from the chamber. "Emergency protocol, viral containment breach. If evacuation not complete in 10 minutes, auto-purge will activate." Ray's eyes widened. "They're going to blow this place up." He rushed to the panel. It was written in alien script, but the interface was similar enough. He activated the unlock code. Nothing happened. "Chamber is locked due to biohazard protocol," Ella informed him. "Override not possible without clearance." "Then we do it the hard way," Ray said. He took out his multi-tool and began opening the chamber manually. Sparks flew. Metal bent. The children inside began to stir. One of them opened her eyes. She was shaking. It's okay, Ray said gently. I'm here to help. He opened the chamber halfway and pulled out the first child, wrapping her in thermal cloth. Then the second. His ship wasn't far, but he had to go back and forth. Time was running out. 5 minutes until purge, the AI voice said. Sweat poured down Ray's face inside the suit. He had 4 children out, 2 left. The chamber shook. Explosive instability detected, Ella warned. You must exit now. Not yet, Ray shouted. I'm not leaving anyone behind. He reached in for the 5th child. The walls cracked around him. Heat grew stronger. He looked at the last child, the smallest one, still unconscious. He picked her up. I got you, he whispered. As he turned, a loud explosion rocked the ship. The path back was gone. Fire in the sky. The corridor behind Ray exploded in a wave of heat and pressure. Metal panels blew outward, blocking the only path he knew back to his ship. His body slammed against the chamber wall, still holding the smallest alien child tightly in his arms. Sparks danced in the smoky air. Fire spread quickly through broken wires and leaking fuel. Ella, he shouted through his helmet. The path is blocked. I need another way out. The comm crackled. Silence. His heart sank. The signal was down. Maybe the blast had damaged the radio system. He looked at the child in his arms. She was breathing, barely. You're not dying here. I didn't come all this way for nothing, he whispered. He scanned the room again. The original door was gone, sealed under crushed steel. Fire danced dangerously close to the cryo chamber. The control panel beside it sparked violently. Then he noticed something, a small maintenance tunnel near the back of the room. It was narrow, barely wide enough for a human body, but it might lead somewhere. With no time left, Ray moved. He crawled into the dark tunnel, one arm holding the child, the other pushing against the floor. The metal was hot, scraping against his suit. Behind him, he could hear muffled alarms. Emergency purge sequence, 3 minutes remaining. He moved faster. Each breath felt heavier. The tunnel twisted, then split into 2 paths. Which way? He said aloud. But there was no answer. He closed his eyes and followed his gut. Left. The tunnel opened into a service shaft above the engineering bay. He looked down through the broken grate. His ship was visible through a shattered window, docked just 20 meters away. A wave of hope hit him. Until he saw the truth. A piece of burning debris had crushed part of his docking arm. The connection between the ships was weak, unstable. He could try to cross it, but it might collapse at any moment. Suddenly, Ella's voice returned crackling through static. Captain, your vitals are unstable. Return immediately. Ray smiled weakly. Good to hear your voice again. Prepare the medbay. I'm coming. Warning. Docking arm integrity. 14%. He took a deep breath, kicked open the shaft door, and ran. Fire followed him like a shadow. One arm clutched the child. His feet slammed against the floor. Debris fell from above. Alarm screamed. He reached the docking tube. It was shaking violently. Ella stabilized the lock, attempting stand by. He took the risk and stepped into the tube. Metal groaned beneath him. Cracks opened on the floor. Come on, he whispered. Just a few more steps. Halfway across, the tube buckled. He dropped to his knees and slid, grabbing a loose pipe with one hand. The child in his other arm whimpered, but didn't wake. He pulled himself forward, inch by inch. Behind him, the alien ship's engines began to glow red. Final purge in 60 seconds. The AI from the chamber echoed faintly. Ray screamed with effort and pushed forward, diving through the last opening into his own ship. The hatch slammed shut behind him. Then, silence. A second later, the alien ship exploded. A massive shockwave hit Ray's ship, spinning it violently. Inside, the lights flickered. Alarms blared. Ray lay still on the floor, the child safe in his arms, both covered in smoke and dust. Ella's voice came gently. Captain, are you alive? He coughed. Barely. Get us out of here. Engaging. Emergency warp. The stars outside blurred. The nebula vanished behind them as the ship jumped into safety. Hours later, Ray woke up in the med bay. Pain throbbed through his ribs. His face was scratched, his body exhausted, but he was alive. He turned his head slowly. In the other bed, the 6 alien children slept peacefully, wrapped in clean blankets. One of them, the smallest, opened her eyes and looked at him. She didn't speak his language, but she reached out and touched his hand gently. Ray smiled. "You're safe now." Ella spoke softly. Long-range scans show incoming vessels. Unknown. Design. Heading toward our last location. Friendly? Ray asked. Unknown. We should assume caution. Ray stood up slowly, still aching. How long until they reach us? Less than 1 hour. He looked at the children, then at the stars beyond the window. I didn't just walk through fire to hand these kids over to anyone. He moved to the command deck. Raise shields, power weapons, and prepare a message. Message to who? Ella asked. To whoever's coming, he said. Tell them this. These kids aren't alone anymore. The impossible escape. The stars outside Ray's ship shimmered like broken glass, still settling from the emergency jump. Inside, the lights flickered and panels sparked occasionally. The small cargo vessel had taken a beating, but it was still flying barely. Captain Ray Carter stood at the bridge, eyes locked on the holoscreen as it scanned nearby space. Behind him, in the medical bay, 6 alien children slept under warm lights. They were safe. For now. But trouble was coming. Ella. The ship's AI broke the silence. Captain, 3 unknown ships approaching, design pattern. Not commercial, not rescue, speed, aggressive. Ray narrowed his eyes. Are they armed? Heavily, Ella replied. And they're not broadcasting any identification. Didn't like this. How long until they reach us? 10 minutes. At current speed, they will intercept. He turned and looked toward the med bay. Those children, he didn't know their names, their species, or even why they were on that ship, but he knew they were being hunted. And now so was he. Divert power to shields. Prepare evasive protocols, Ray ordered. We're not going down easy. Warning, warp drive is overheated. Next jump impossible for at least 1 hour. Then we fight smart, Ray muttered. Let's disappear. 7 minutes later, the stars shifted again as Ray's ship drifted into a nearby asteroid field. Hundreds of spinning rocks surrounded them like floating daggers. It was dangerous. One wrong move, and they'd be torn apart. But it was better than being caught in open space. Maneuvering through field, Ella said. Hull integrity at 70%. We can't outrun them, so we make them lose us, Ray said. Reduce engine output, let's go silent. The ship's core dimmed, humming lower. Ray held his breath. On the sensors, the enemy ships entered the field behind him, fast and ruthless. They're scanning the area, Ella reported. But so far they haven't found us. Ray allowed himself a brief sigh of relief. Until the screen blinked red. Captain, one of them is launching drones. Small hunter crafts spread like insects, scanning rocks, searching for heat, sound, or movement. Ray clenched his fists. Of course they would. He couldn't fire back, without giving away their position. He turned to the med bay. The children were awake now, silent and frightened. One of them, a small boy with glowing green eyes, looked at Ray with deep fear but also trust. Ray knelt beside him. They're coming for you, aren't they? He asked softly. The boy nodded once. Ray didn't press further. He just put a hand on the boy's shoulder and stood up. Ella, override cargo hold, he said. Open vent hatches 3 and 4. Flood space with junk. Why? Ella asked. Because we're going to create a distraction. Minutes later outside, hundreds of loose metal containers, broken panels, and decoy beacons floated into the asteroid field. The enemy drones picked up heat spikes and movement. False signals. They bit the bait. Enemy drones are redirecting, Ella confirmed. They've scattered their search. We have a narrow gap, less than 90 seconds. Ray jumped into the pilot seat. Then we make it count. He fired up the engines. The ship surged forward between the asteroids. Large rocks spun dangerously close to the hull. One clipped the left side, shaking everything, but Ray held steady. Targeting beacon. Ahead, Ella said. A small jump gate hidden in the field. It's inactive but repairable. Can we fix it? Possible. 30 seconds required, but someone must do it manually. Ray didn't hesitate. Keep the ship moving. I'll go. Captain? Risk level, critical. Yeah, he muttered. That sounds about right. Outside the ship, Ray floated in space, tethered by a magnetic line, tools strapped to his suit. The broken jump gate was nearby, old tech, damaged but not dead. He moved fast, ignoring the cold and pressure. Behind him, distant lights grew brighter. The enemy ships had found his trail again. He worked quickly, hands shaking. 20 seconds until full restart, Ella said in his ear. A warning alarm. Screamed. Incoming missile, she added. Fast and locked on. Ray's breath caught. He looked up. A bright flash. One of the enemy ships had fired a smart missile. It curved around rocks like a snake, heading straight for him. He stared at it for one long second. Then he activated his suit's booster and launched himself back toward the ship. Ella, fire countermeasures deployed. The ship launched metal chaff and flares. The missile twisted, confused, but not stopped. Ray flew faster. He reached the cargo door. It opened just in time. He rolled inside, hitting the floor hard. Close. The door slammed shut. Jump gate ready, Ella said. Coordinates locked, firing now. The ship surged forward and vanished into the artificial wormhole just as the missile exploded behind them. On the other side, space was calm again. Ray sat on the cold floor, breathing hard. Every part of him ached. His suit was scorched. His hands shook. But he was alive, and so were the children. Ella spoke gently. Captain, the transmission from earlier has been decrypted. What did it say? He asked. She paused. It was not just a distress call. It was a warning. Ray stood slowly, listening. Translation: Royal heirs aboard. If you find this message, they must be protected. Enemies among our own want them dead. Ray blinked. He turned to the med bay. 6 small children sleeping again. Each one a royal, he whispered. What have I gotten myself into? Saved but not safe. The jump gate closed behind Ray's ship, leaving only silence in the empty sector of space. It was peaceful, almost too peaceful. Inside, Captain Ray Carter stood on the bridge, still catching his breath. The enemy ships were gone, at least for now. The ship's engines cooled down, systems rebooted slowly, and the flickering lights began to stabilize. But Ray knew the real danger was just beginning. Behind him, the 6 alien children slept in the med bay, unaware of the chaos that had chased them across the stars. They looked peaceful, innocent. But now he understood. They weren't just survivors. They were royal heirs. And someone wanted them dead. Ella, Ray said, still staring. At the stars, we need to send a signal. A real one this time. Something official. Who do you wish to contact, Captain? He paused. The message he heard before had been clear. Enemies were already inside the alien government. If he contacted the wrong people, he'd be sending these kids straight to their killers. We need to reach their queen. Directly, he said. No middlemen, no relays. Ella processed for a moment. I am attempting to open a secure channel, encrypting transmission. The seconds crawled by. Then a soft chime echoed in the room. Connection established, Ella said. Visual incoming. The hologram projector buzzed, and then she appeared, a tall alien woman, wrapped in flowing silver robes, with markings on her forehead that glowed faintly like starlight. Her eyes were sharp, too sharp, and filled with a dangerous calm. Ray stood still, unsure what to expect. The Queen of Valeria looked at him silently for a long moment. Then she spoke. Human, she said. Identify yourself. Captain Ray Carter. Cargo pilot. I found your medical ship, or what was left of it. I rescued 6 children. They're alive and with me. He waited. The Queen didn't react. Her face remained unreadable. Show me, she said. Ray motioned to the medbay. Ella shifted the camera feed. The Queen watched as the children slept wrapped in blankets, IV tubes humming softly beside them. A flash of emotion flickered across her eyes. Pain, maybe, or guilt. They are mine, she said quietly. My blood, my heirs. Ray's eyebrows lifted. You're their mother. Yes. The Queen stepped closer to the hologram feed, her voice now sharper. You should not have them. No outsider was meant to know of this. Ray straightened. I didn't ask for this, I just couldn't leave them behind. And yet, she replied coldly, your presence makes things worse. You've exposed them to more danger. He crossed his arms. I've already risked my life for them, nearly died twice. Forgive me if I didn't follow your royal plan. For a second, the Queen stared at him, unblinking. Then, unexpectedly, she smiled. You have fire in you, human, and honor. Ray was confused. So, are you sending a rescue team? Her face turned serious again. No. I cannot. What? Someone inside my council ordered the assassination. I don't know who. If I send my own ships, they might kill the children before they even reach me. So what am I supposed to do? Ray asked, stunned. You must bring them to me, she said. In secret, without drawing attention. Ray laughed, darkly. You do realize I'm just one guy with a half-destroyed cargo ship, right? And yet, the Queen replied, you are the only one who did what entire fleets would not. You saved them. Now you must protect them. If they die, Valeria dies with them. They are the last of my bloodline. The screen began to fade. Coordinates, encrypted. They will lead you to me, if you survive. The transmission ended. Ray sat down slowly in the pilot chair, running his hand through his messy hair. You okay, Captain? Ella asked. Nope, he said. I just became a royal babysitter. With a target on my back, Ella beeped softly. Incoming transmission. Short range, unknown source. Ray jumped up. Enemy? Unclear. Signal is weak. Broken. Playing now. The audio crackled to life. No. You have them. Run. No place is safe. Watcher is awake. Then, static. Ray's stomach turned cold. Ella, what's the Watcher? No matches in known databases. He looked toward the children. The smallest one, the girl he'd pulled from the cryochamber last, was awake now. Her eyes glowed faintly. She looked different, older, deeper. She spoke for the first time. They're coming, she said softly. Not to capture, to harass. Ray's heart skipped. Who's coming? He asked, but she didn't answer, just stared into space. Royal Judgment. 3 days had passed since Ray Carter spoke with the Queen of Valeria. His ship, patched with scrap and scavenged parts, glided silently through uncharted space. His eyes were tired, body aching. The alien children, though recovering, still spoke little. Only the youngest girl, who now clung to Ray's side like a shadow, had spoken clearly. But even her words were haunting. They're coming. Not to capture. To erase. He kept replaying that line in his head. Now the coordinates given by the Queen led them to a sector no human had ever entered. It didn't appear on any map. No known stars. No beacons. Just emptiness. Until they reached it. Captain, Ella said, we've arrived at the Royal Veil. Activating cloak pulse beacon. A soft hum echoed. Then, space shimmered. Suddenly, like fog parting from a hidden city, an enormous station appeared out of the void. Not just a station, a palace. Its towers floated in perfect formation. Glowing rings of light circled it like protective wings. This was Valeria's throne in exile, a secret stronghold only the Queen herself could unlock. Ray stared. Well, that's new. Ella chuckled softly in the background, something she almost never did. Approach cleared, weapons offline. Welcome, Captain Carter. Moments later, Ray stood at the airlock, wearing a clean shirt for the first time in days. Behind him, the 6 alien children waited quietly. Guards in silver armor met them at the gate. None spoke. As Ray stepped into the throne hall, he felt something heavy settle on his chest. Not fear, not nerves, judgment. The Queen stood at the far end of the hall. Her robe shimmered like liquid stars. Around her were members of the High Council, tall, stern-faced beings with ancient eyes and unreadable expressions. As Ray approached, the chamber went silent. Then, the Queen raised her hand. Human, you have walked through fire and shadow. You've brought the heirs of Valeria back from death. Ray stood tall. I did what I could. A counselor stepped forward. His tone was cold. He is an outsider, a human. How can we trust him? How do we know he did not steal the heirs? Ray clenched his jaw. If I wanted to harm them, I could have left them to burn in that ship. The youngest child walked forward. She took Ray's hand, small, glowing, fingers curling around his. Then she looked at the council. He didn't just save us, she said. He carried us. Through fire, through death. He became our shield. Her voice echoed with something ancient, the council murmured. Even the Queen's eyes narrowed slightly. Child, the Queen said slowly, what did you see when your mind returned? The girl didn't blink. The Watcher. It saw us leave. Now it follows. It remembers the war before memory. A cold silence fell over the room. Ray was confused. What is this Watcher? Is it some kind of enemy fleet? A different counselor, older and half-blind, answered. No, human. It is not a fleet. It is a purge. A remnant from before history, created by the ancients to destroy any line that disobeyed the code. It was never meant to be awakened. But someone did wake it, Ray said. Someone from inside. The Queen nodded. Yes. Someone within my court triggered the protocol. Sent the heirs on a false medical mission, knowing the ship would be destroyed. And now it's hunting them, Ray muttered. Because they're alive. Not just alive, said the Queen. They are the key to the next age. Their minds were encoded with the legacy of Valeria. Every secret, every history, every power. She stepped down from the throne. And you, human, carried that future on your back. Ray swallowed. He didn't feel like a hero. He felt like a man in the wrong place at the wrong time. So what happens now, he asked. Do I hand them over and disappear? The Queen looked him in the eye. You could, and no one would blame you. Then she reached out and placed her hand on his chest. A soft light glowed between her fingers. But you were chosen, not by me, not by fate, by them. Suddenly, all 6 children stepped forward. Each one raised a glowing hand and touched Ray's arm, shoulder, back. His skin burned, not in pain but with power. Symbols appeared on his skin, ancient living marks, the sacred bond of Valeria. The Queen spoke aloud, voice echoing across the hall. By royal law, by ancestral fire, and by the bloodline's trust, this human is no longer outsider. He is guardian, protector, and now part of the crown. The council gasped. Some shouted. One even left the room in rage. Ray just stood there, stunned. Wait, what did you just do to me? You've been marked, she said. You cannot turn back now. As long as the heirs live, you are their shield. And when they take the throne, you'll stand beside them. Ray stepped back, overwhelmed. I'm just a cargo pilot. The Queen shook her head. You're more than that now. Just then, Ella's voice rang in his earpiece, urgent. Captain, sorry to interrupt. Incoming ships detected, not from Valeria. I repeat, not from Valeria. The Queen turned sharply. How many? Ella's voice was cold. Too many, the youngest child whispered again. The Watcher is here. In deep space the stars rippled. Then they vanished. A black wall moved across the sector. An impossible fleet. Thousands of silent, burning ships. At their center a colossal figure loomed in shadows. Taller than any cruiser. Older than any moon. Its voice did not come through sound. It came through thought. I see you. And I erase. The sacred bond, a low hum vibrated through the walls of the throne hall. Not from machinery, but from the stars themselves. Captain Ray Carter stood frozen under the alien markings now glowing across his skin. The children still touched him, their soft palms warm with something more than blood, something ancient, powerful, alive. Outside, the darkness crept closer. They are here, the Queen whispered. Ella's voice crackled in Ray's earpiece. Captain, visual contact confirmed. The Watcher fleet has entered the sector. 47 warships and then something else, something massive. It's not on any known registry. Ray stepped toward the main window of the palace. Space itself looked wrong, like it was bleeding black. Where stars should be, there was only shadow. He turned to the Queen. Can your people fight them? She looked at him grimly. Not directly. Our weapons are light compared to what they carry. The ancients built the Watcher to purge disobedience. It doesn't capture, doesn't threaten. It simply ends. Ray clenched his fists. So you're saying we have no defense? No, she said. I'm saying you are the defense. Before he could reply, the sacred markings on his skin burned brighter. They pulsed in rhythm with the children's breathing. The oldest child, a boy with gold around his eyes, stepped forward. You carry the bond now, Ray. It connects you to us and to the crown. What does that even mean? He asked. The Queen answered. It means the ancient throne has chosen you as protector. You are bound not by blood, but by spirit. As long as you live, they cannot take the heirs. Ella interrupted again. Captain, they're preparing to fire. Ray turned to the Queen. Then we stop them. Show me the strongest weapon you've got. The Queen gave a bitter smile. Follow me. Beneath the palace, Ray followed the Queen through a long corridor filled with ancient carvings and statues. Symbols on the wall shimmered as they passed. The children followed silently behind. They reached a vast chamber, empty except for a circular platform surrounded by floating rings of light. At the center stood a pedestal. On it, a spear. Long, black, covered in glowing runes, it hummed with low energy, vibrating softly. What is it? Ray asked. The last relic of the First War, the Queen said. It was never meant for us. It was forged by the founders to give one being the power to defy a god. Ray stepped forward. The closer he got, the more the markings on his skin responded, like they recognized it. He reached out, and the moment his fingers touched the weapon, the rings exploded with light. Energy surged into him. The ground shook. Above the palace, the Watcher fleet prepared its first strike. Ships formed a perfect triangle. Inside the triangle, a portal began to open. Then, a scream echoed across space. Not a sound, a feeling, a warning. In the palace tower, Ray stepped out, now holding the relic spear. His body glowed with golden white fire. His eyes burned with light. The children stood behind him, each one linked to him by invisible threads of energy. He wasn't human anymore. He was something more. Target lock confirmed, Ella said. You have one shot. Ray raised the spear. Open the main skylight. Above him, the armored dome of the palace split open, revealing the black sky. He aimed. The Watcher responded. The portal in their fleet flared. Red lightning shot toward the palace. Fast, impossible to dodge. Ray threw the spear. The sky cracked. In space, the spear tore through the storm like light through glass. It hit the center of the triangle, not a ship, but the very code controlling the fleet. The ancient protocol stuttered, paused, shattered. Every Watcher ship blinked, lights dimming, signals scrambling, and then they stopped. No explosions. No fire. Just stillness, as if time itself held its breath. In the palace, Ray collapsed to one knee, smoke rising from his arms. The markings faded, but did not vanish. The Queen helped him up. "You did what no royal ever could," she said. "You reached the relic. You awakened it." He looked around. "Did we stop them?" The youngest girl shook her head. "We paused them. But the true watcher has not yet arrived." Ray blinked. "That wasn't it?" The Queen turned toward the window, her face pale. "No. That was only the first gate. In deep space, beyond the edge of known stars, in a sector erased from all maps, something stirred, a shape too large to measure, a mind too old to name. The true watcher opened its eye and began to move. The price of honor space trembled, a low vibration, too deep for sound, moved through every star, every planet, every ship across 100 light years. The true watcher had awakened. It had no name, no shape that could be fully seen, only presence. Like a cold mind pressing against the edge of reality. A weapon left behind by a forgotten civilization, built for one purpose, erasure. And now, it was coming, on the throne world of Valeria. Captain Ray Carter stood in the observation chamber, watching a black tear rip through the stars beyond the system. The stars were dying, literally blinking, out, as the watcher approached. "Ella," he whispered. "How much time?" "Less than 2 hours, Captain," Ella replied. "If its current speed holds, it will reach us before any known defense can respond. Standard weapons will not stop it." The Queen stepped beside him. Her silver robes glowed faintly in the rising darkness. "We have always feared this day," she said. "Our ancestors believed the Watcher would never awaken, that its code would die with time. But time remembered." Ray's jaw clenched. "You said the heirs were the key." "They are," the Queen said, "but not just to our survival, to everything." In the deep vaults below the palace, the 6 alien children stood in a circle, their hands joined, their eyes glowing with white gold. Light. Around them, ancient machines hummed to life for the first time in 10,000 years. The smallest girl, the one who had first spoken to Ray, looked up. "He is here." Ray stepped inside, arms covered in ancient markings, still faintly lit from the spear. "Tell me what to do." The oldest child nodded. "Our minds carry the legacy of Valeria, a pattern left behind. It can reprogram the Watcher." "Reprogram it?" "Yes," the Queen said, now entering behind him. "Not to destroy, but to restore, to reset its purpose. But it requires a bridge, a soul willing to carry the code." Ray already understood what that meant. Someone has to link directly with it. "Yes," the Queen said, "but not just link, merge. Your mind will be rewritten." He stared at her. "I won't survive that." She didn't answer. The room was silent. Then the youngest child walked forward. She reached up, placed her hand over Ray's heart. "We chose you," she whispered. His voice cracked. "Why me? I was just passing by. I was no one." "No," she said softly. "You were someone who stopped." Above the palaces, the Watcher drew closer. Ships fled. Others were consumed. Some tried to fight, but their weapons simply vanished before impact, converted into dust, data, silence, and yet one small ship, Ray's ship, powered up. Its old scarred hull glowed with symbols, merged with the sacred bond. It rose, carrying Ray aboard, surrounded by light, carried forward not by engines alone but by will. Ella's voice came through. "Captain, this is our last flight." "Yeah," he said, gripping the controls. "But let's make it count." The final approach, the Watcher filled space like a living eclipse. It didn't attack, it simply absorbed. Stars went out as it passed. Moons cracked. Signals died. As Ray's ship neared it, time itself began to slow. Ray stood in the center of the ship, arms stretched wide. Energy from the bond flowed into him. The children from far below whispered the code across the link. Ray's mind expanded. He felt everything. Galaxies, histories, wars that happened before time, languages with no words. He stood not as a man, but as a message. "You will not erase them," he said into the void. "Not today." The Watcher spoke, not in sound but in thought. "You are not of the line." "No," Ray said. "But I carried them, through fire, through fear, and now through you. You are not worthy. I was never supposed to be. But I chose them anyway." A moment passed, then the Watcher paused. It did not destroy. It scanned, and it saw. In the throne chamber, the children collapsed to the floor, still breathing, but exhausted. The Queen looked up. "What's happening?" The sky above the planet shifted. Light returned. The stars beyond reignited. The black shape of the Watcher turned slowly, then vanished, folding into a tear of its own making. It was gone, but so was Ray. Hours later, a beacon drifted through space. Inside, a single message. Ella's voice. "To those who receive this, know that Captain Ray Carter gave everything, not for power, not for glory, but for a promise he made in a burning ship." On Valeria, a monument now stood outside the palace. Traits. A human figure carved in crystal and iron holding a small child in one arm and a spear in the other. The plaque read, "He was not born of our stars, but he became our light." Somewhere in a quiet sector of space, a young pilot, human, passing by the ruins of a battle long forgotten, picked up a strange signal. Broken, but familiar. Children. Trapped. Explosion imminent. He paused, just like Ray once did, then turned his ship toward the sound.